Hi and welcome back. Okay, so what we're going to do this week is we're going to go ahead and preserve some apples. It is about apple and pear season. Down here in Texas, it's not so common to see apple trees. But if you have apple trees with a lot of apples on them, even if they have little bad spots and stuff, you can cut out the bad spots and make some apple sauce, apple cider, apple vinegar, or apple cider vinegar. Even apple pie. What I'm going to do is I have 3 types of apples, and we're going to go ahead and combine them. I like a little bit of tart in my apples, in my applesauce, and apple pies. So what I'm doing is we have some pink ladies. And some Granny Smiths. And for sweetness, we have ambrosia. Now, I don't like adding extra sugar to my applesauce or my pies, so I get the ambrosia, which is a sweeter tasting apple, to be able to make up for that sugar loss in the recipes. We also have pear season, which I'm not a big fan. I love, don't get me wrong, I love the taste of pears. I love the juice, I love the taste. I can't stand the grittiness of the regular pears. But there is one pear that I found that I actually like. Those are those Asian pears. You know, the round ones. They're nice and crisp. They snap like an apple, and they taste just like pear. Now, these are not cheap. Okay, this box was not, it was not cheap. These Asian pears, if you buy them singularly, they're about $3.50 each. I bought a box of 9. You can do the math on that one. Let me bring one out here. You'll mainly see them in this type of packaging. It's to help them, prevent them from bruising against each other in shipping. But these are huge. They're about the size of my head. And they snap, and they don't have that grittiness, but they taste just like pears. I'm going to make some pear, kind of like pie filling-ish, as well as some pear butter with this. With the apples, I'm going to make some apple pie filling and some applesauce. I might have enough to be able to make some apple butter with that. Hopefully this week we'll be able to get all of these done. I'm going to go ahead and peel all these really quickly, in a YouTube minute. And let's get started. Okay, now what I'm doing is that I am cubing these up. I find it they're easier to can. And you get more apple in the pie filling. Instead of having them just in slices, I can actually put them in cubes. You get a little bit more apple in the jar for your pie filling. And then when the cubes will mash down faster when we're making the applesauce. Just a little tip there. These are the Granny Smiths. I've already done the apple crisps or honey crisps, and I'm going to go ahead and do the ambrosia next. A little bit of a tip here. Whenever you're cutting up your apples, okay, in the water, put in something that contains citric acids. I am using True Lemon packets. There's about 6 of them in there. This will add lemon flavor without adding extra moisture to your dishes. And I like using those a lot whenever I'm doing something dessert wise or jelly wise. Now that we have everything cut up and it's all properly mixed, and we'll be able to separate this out, see how much we want for the apple pie filling, and then we're going to boil the rest of it down to sauce and possibly even apple butter after that. Now, let me grab this. Here's all the scraps. Okay, I've already given the my Worm Farm the apple cores and the stems and the seeds. Use this to make vinegar or what's called apple scrap jelly. It's kind of like apple jelly, except for you're using the skins. It actually comes out very wonderful. I have enough of it, so I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to be making more apple cider vinegar because that's what I use the most. Okay, so for the apple pie filling, I'm going to take out 8 cups of the apples and put them in separately. I want to make at least 3 pints, possibly even 4 with a little bit left over because I want to make an apple dump cake. That's really easy to do. Even if you're on keto. I think I've done it with a blueberry recipe at one point on one of my shorts. Here's about 8 cups. This is going to be a pie filling. And with the rest of this, let's go ahead and strain this out. This has all the citric acid, lemon stuff, and this water has actually gotten quite brown. We want to dump this and add fresh water whenever we start dissolving this, but we're not going to use that much water, just maybe about 3 cups for this whole thing. Just enough to get the apples soft and tender and mashable all by itself. Let me put this in the pot. Now, like I said, this is going to be a no sugar applesauce. Add about 3 cups of water. We're ready to go ahead and put this on the stove, bring this up to a boil, and then reduce down to medium low with the lid on until everything cooks. This is going to take about 30 minutes. Here we go with the apple cider vinegar. Or apple scrap vinegar. It's really cold because we're not making it with apple cider, we're making it with apple scraps. Apple skins work perfectly for this. And like I said, you can also make jelly with the apple skins. I just don't have, I have enough of the apple jelly. I made it last year. And we don't go through that much jelly. We add jelly to things like pork roast to give it a little bit extra. That and the apple sauce as well as whenever you're cooking it. Gives the pork a wonderful, wonderful taste and tenderizes it. Okay, we're going to go ahead and fill this up with water, and for this we're going to add 1 cup of sugar. Okay, you know, I'm actually debating if I want to do the pears next week, because I don't know. I think I'm going to have enough time to do both this week for this weekend, because I do something extra special with my pears. I think we'll make it another a separate video from this one, because applesauce, apple pie, apple butter, they're all about in the same family. The pears are a little bit different, and like I said, I do something a little bit more special with the pears than I do separate with the apples. So let's go ahead and get that done next week. All right. A towel on top to prevent the lid from closing all the way to let the gases escape, and as well as keeping all the fruit flies out of this while it is fermenting. You want to keep an eye on this. This is going to take about 4 weeks. Okay, this is boiling, but it has been thoroughly cooked. You can tell whenever it changes colors, kind of like that. The easiest way to make this mash is with a blender. You can use a hand masher if you wish, kind of like a potato masher. I am not that strong. Now you want to save the water that you boiled the apples in, because sometimes there's not enough moisture in the apples to mash very well. And since it already has the juice from boiling the apples, it would be perfect to add to this once this gets too thick to move. Also, you want to add your spices to the blender. That way it gets evenly distributed. Throughout the applesauce. I'm going to be putting in 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and 1/4 teaspoon of clove in this. The amount of cinnamon and cloves is pretty much to taste. The original recipe said 1/2 of a teaspoon of cinnamon and 1/8 of a teaspoon of cloves. I like mine a little bit heavier on the spice. See how it's not blending up all the way? That's whenever we're going to add more of the liquid. Now, depending on how you like it, if you like it chunky, go ahead and pulse it until it's your desired chunkiness. Or you can make it smooth like what I'm doing here. Making sure that everything is nice and even. I'm stirring this in a little bit. This is a Ninja, so it's got blades on it that are in different areas that I don't want to touch. And it's a new blender. So, just keep on continuing. This smells wonderful, by the way. And that's it. It's hot, but look how thick that is. We are going to go ahead and jar some of this up right now. And then I'm going to save a jar or two for apple butter. Okay, 1. 2. 3. 4, and we'll do the rest of this. Okay, and the rest of this is going to go in here. I am right-handed. Here we go. Now the only addition to making apple butter is adding brown sugar. And for this we're going to use about half a cup, which means a half a cup white sugar and a half a teaspoon, or I'm sorry, half a tablespoon of molasses. And you cook it low and slow until it reduces. Half a cup sugar. And 1/2 teaspoon of the black gold. And we're going to essentially boil this down to about half of what it is now. So while you want to cook this down low and slow, because you're condensing the applesauce. And making it more of a butter. Okay, we're going to put that on medium low and keep an eye on it. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get the pie filling mixed up and jarred. We're going to be filming this at a little different angle. Let's see, we've got the apples. And again, one teaspoon cinnamon. This time I'm going to be putting in a half a teaspoon of cloves. And then 2 packets of True Lemon. I want a little bit of a lemon flavor to this. It'll also help with the canning process. Because we're adding a thickener in here, we're going to need that extra acidity. Applesauce, you really don't need it. And because this is pie filling, the recipe asks for 1 to 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup of sugar. I'm going to put a half in here. Actually, I'm probably going to put in 1/4, not quite a half. It's just to bring out the sweetness of the apples, because we did use tart apples. You don't have to add sugar if you don't want to. But not everybody likes tart apple pie. Of course, that could be a thing. And to this, I'm going to add 1 cup of water, and we're going to let this boil up a little bit. Here's the apple butter. It will thicken up as it cools, but this is 100% done. Take this off, let it cool a little bit, and put it in a jar. We have this up to a nice rolling boil, and everything is melded and cooked together. All the spices are pretty much permeated the fruit. We are going to go ahead and add our thickener. We're using xanthan gum. There is a huge debate on one of my Facebook groups right now. Which one is better, cornstarch or clear gel? Has anybody read the ingredients? Guess what clear gel is? It's cornstarch. There are people out there that say clear gel is better and will not eat any pastry like apple pie unless it has clear gel in it. What in the world? I'm going to add about a teaspoon at a time and let that start to gel up on its own. You don't want lumps in this because this will lump up really fast. So little bits at a time until it gets to the desired gelness that you wish. And if you look, it's already started. We may not need any more, because the recipe that I have says that you add 1 to 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch. you saw how much of the xanthium gum I used. And xanthium gum is a lot more keto and diabetic friendly. This stuff will last a lot longer than a bottle of cornstarch. And we're turning that off. All nice and thick. Okay, let's go ahead and jar this up. And we'll show you the end results. Okay, here we have 2 pints of our pie filling. 1 for Christmas, 1 for Thanksgiving. 4 pints of applesauce. And this is the apple butter. Look how more deep of a color that it is. And it's thicker than the applesauce, so it can spread evenly on your toast. These get water bath for 25 minutes. These are 35 minutes because it's thicker. And these get put in with the pints because they're thicker as well, but they're smaller jars. So those are also 20 minutes. All right, now I have a little bit left, so I'm going to make a little itty bitty dessert. About half a pint, which is about a cup of filling. I'm going to add some almond meal to the bottom of my pan, make kind of like a halfway crust. About a half a cup. To this you can add brown sugar if you're not diabetic. I would like some, so I am going to omit the brown sugar. Then a few pads of unsalted butter on the bottom, just to moisten up the crust a little bit more than what's in the pie filling. It's more of a dump cake than anything else. Like I said, I've got a blueberry one on my shorts. And now we're going to go ahead and dump the pie filling. It's still nice and piping hot. And then to this, at the top, we're going to add just a sprinkling more of almond meal. And then the rest of the stick of butter. Bake at 350 until done. Bubbling. I check on it at about 25 minutes. Because this is small. If you're doing something, you know, larger, obviously it's going to take more time. And this is how I do our Christmas and Thanksgiving desserts. It's kind of halfway keto, kind of halfway diabetic, kind of halfway, yeah, well, it's not diabetic, obviously. But that's enough butter. I am not the only one that's living in this house. It's the reasons why I do this. You'll see me doing something that is not diabetic or keto. That's not for me, for the most part. Okay, this goes into the oven, and we'll bring it out. Okay, so the apple dump cake is almost done. But I had a little bit of the apple butter left over, so I put it in the refrigerator. Look how thick that is. You can't tell me that wouldn't be perfect on a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Peanut butter apple butter sandwich. Or heck, just spread it on toast or eat it with a spoon. Okay, now we have, so what's for dinner? We have some German sausage. I got a can of the red cabbage that we made in April. And here is the dump cake. While I'm finishing canning all this stuff up, okay, you're going to hear pings everywhere. We are going to go ahead and get to those pears next week. Like I said, I do something a little bit special to them. Give it a little bit more flavor than the normal regular pear. If you like normal regular pear, hey, go for it. Do exactly what I'm doing except for use pears. I do something special because I use those for the holidays. Thank you for coming. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.